Hello my friends, welcome back to Steel Faith Overhaul for Total War Warhammer, where the Wood Elves and Beastmen have received a bunch of new content. Wildwood Wardens are the leaders of the Rangers who patrol Sithral, and protect the Asrai from the malicious spirits and creatures who dwell within. Through sheer skill and guile, they have survived many battles. Shadowdancers are the feared devotees of the trickster god Loek. In battle, their movements are more precise and swift than even the War Dancers, and they unleash lethal shadow magic on their enemies. Before the elves, there were the ancients. Their very presence inspires awe and terror. Eternal Wardens are tasked with training and disciplining ranks of Eternal Guard, leading their kin into battle and ensuring the realm of the Asrai is protected throughout the cycle of the seasons. The strongest of souls gather the forest around them, and are reborn as instruments of its defense, the Treekin, who smash, rip, and tear those who would defile their homeland. Utterly savage and physically powerful, the Khorngors have only one master, the Lord of Skulls. They care not from where the blood flows, only that it does. Doombulls, the fathers of rage, are brutality incarnate. What they lack in intelligence, they make up for with sheer willpower and ferocity. Few would question the decisions of these monstrous beasts, and fewer still could hope to survive their furious onslaught. Hounds of Pestilence are beasts of war racked with mutation, a bite that not only brings pain, but a cruel toxicity that courses through their victims' veins. Pestigors are sworn devotees of Nurgle, gifted with pestilence and mutations that grant them unholy toughness and vitality. Wounds that would outright slaughter lesser creatures are shrugged off and healed quickly as the grandfather of decay blesses his flock. Zangors are altered by the changer of ways, having developed deep and morbid fascinations with arcane knowledge. They are dangerous and cunning foes, wielding enchanted magical blades. And finally, Slangors are an oddity amongst the Beastmen, having thrown aside their utter savagery in pursuit of excess and perfection. They are swift and deadly creatures of Slaanesh, often taking jewels and capes to adorn their sculpted physiques. So we're here in the shadow of Inedri Eternos, the Oak of Ages at the heart of Athel Loren, as the Wood Elves defend their homeland against yet another Beastmen assault. There have been a lot of changes to SFO over the last several weeks, but I'm not going to cover them all here. As you saw, both the Wood Elves and the Children of Chaos got some cool new units. Shadowdancers are one of them. They were a hero choice on the tabletop, but form a very small elite support unit here with the spell Withering of Shadow, imbuing -9 leadership, -35 armor, and damage over time wherever they cast it. 30% ward save on them too, so they're pretty good for hunting single entity monsters with that AP. Orion, King in the Woods, is here, and he's facing down his mortal enemy, Morghur the Shadowgave, at the head of a Nurgle-themed Beastmen army. All these marked Beastmen units perform a different role, and the Pestigors, as you might expect, are the tanky ones. Passive health regen, poison damage, and a huge HP pool, but they're super slow and they're quite expensive to field. On the flanks are the Hounds of Pestilence, a more terrifying version of Chaos Warhounds, designed to be a bit more tanky and more threatening in melee, but much fewer in number to compensate. These guys can be incredibly useful in a cav engagement because, as we know, Centaurs are pretty bad at trading cost efficiently against a lot of other cav units because of their low armor off the charge, but those guys will help them out. Across the way are the Khornate Beastmen, led by Doombull, which really needs to get added to the base game. Like, just make him a darker color, give him more armor, make him bigger than a Gorbull, give him a skill tree that buffs Minotaurs and makes him a god in combat, and you're done. Like, hell of a lot easier to do than making a Gorgon or a Jabberslite, that's for damn sure. But he's a perfect addition to any Khorne-themed Beastmen roster, as are the Khorngors, immune to psychology with an 8 bonus versus infantry, and heavily armored. They're pretty scary in melee. Now, ideally, the Tzeentch Pestigors are probably your go-to choice against Tree Spirit builds, because they deal magic damage, which bypasses their ward saves, and they have 40% resistance to magic as well, which goes a long way in nullifying Tree Spirit attacks, but Khorngors are immune to Psych. It's a pretty big deal against them, because usually Beastmen start running in terror once Ancient Treemen or a Dragon start smacking them around a little bit, but the Warriors of the Blood God aren't pussies. They're going to stay around, stick in melee for pretty much the duration of the fight, which is a pretty big deal in this matchup. You can see Orion was trying to snipe that Bray Shaman early on. Pestigors getting the Hounds of Orion bashed on him. And the sky is opening up now as Hawk's Talon rains from above. And we get a glorious... Oh god, that was terrible. That was terrifying. What the hell was that? Weird visual glitch there. That happens sometimes when I'm playing siege battles. It's not that often, but I don't think I've ever gotten it in a regular multiplayer replay. That was weird. Hopefully that doesn't happen again. But we have the... Oh, what is that? We've got some Ungor Raiders firing in the back, and Dwellers below erupting out of the ground, ripping and tearing, and that is going to be a dead unit of Ungor Raiders. My god, that is absolutely vicious. Look at that. They're all getting jibbed. That's glorious. That's so awesome. I love Dwellers, and it's actually literally going to knock out more than half the unit there in one cast. Pretty nice use of the spell there. Don't really want your low armor Wood Elf units getting ripped apart by Ungor Raiders in the back lines. And the Eagles are coming now. Dryads running into melee against the Khorngors, backed up by Minotaurs with the Mark of Khorne, so they're also immune to Psych. A lot of immune to Psych units on the field will really help against the Ancient Treemen and the Treekin as they wade into melee here. And all across the line, the Khorngors have made it in. Shield of Thorns getting popped on the front line of the Dryads, and Eagles rather, are flying overhead and ripping up the front line whenever their attack animation goes off. They're doing a lot of disruption, knocking down a big swath of infantry there. Those tanky trees for Argwylon pushing back the tides exceptionally well at the moment. And the Coordinate Assault's been stopped dead in its tracks. These new Wood Elf units aren't really mainline combatants. They're pretty much all designed to encourage friendly units and provide support, but combined with the War Dancers here, Wildwood Wardens are making their presence felt, and Treeman is taking the entire left flank of the Beastmen advance, eviscerating chunks of Ungors. And there might be another Dwellers below as Morghur and Orion, the Warhammer Duel of Fates, going off right now. Hype is real. I love this fight, man. This is so cool. So lore friendly. Watching Orion and Morghur go to work here. Interested to see who wins that engagement. And over on the far left, or the right of the Beastmen army, Minotaurs trying to push through the Eternal Guard and Eternal Wardens that are supporting them. And Chaos Warhounds, or not Chaos Warhounds, the Hounds of Pestilence rather, the bigger, scarier, poison version, are into melee and actually kind of doing well in the main line engagement, supporting and imbuing that poison. Chaos Spawn engaging some of the Sisters of the Thorn, who are providing some nice AP and bound spells from the flanks. And a Manticore and a Spellsinger fighting in another Duel of Fates here. And I don't imagine the Spellsinger will be able to do very well in that fight, but if she gets some support, she might be able to tie it down. Some poor Coordinate Soul plucked from the earth and ejected by a Great Eagle. It's a long way to fall, man. And the Doombull is anchoring the line, keeping the followers of the Blood God in the Orgy of Slaughter for now. Buffed up by Ravenous Bloodgreed, granting him plus 10% splash attack power and 36 melee attack, but he does sacrifice 30% of his speed for 30 seconds as he does those scary cow things. Hashtag just scary cow things. But yeah, that's going to be an interesting fight. Gorbel and the Doombull. Oh man, the Tree Man coming in from the flank, smashing in there. The Great Eagle looks to be pretty low. There's another one at full HP almost. And the Gorbel over here in the middle of the Wildwood Wardens, actually War Dancers rather, and the Dryads. Slicing a couple of them in half. Gorbel is doing really well right now. And here come the Minotaurs from the flanks. Mark of Khorne on them. They're going to be scary. And that will send the War Dancers running for the hills, and I don't blame them. That's a terrifying sight for sure. But Argwylon has pretty much beaten back all these Mark of Khorne units. There are some stragglers, some remnants still alive. The Doombull is still alive. But it looks like the followers of Nurgle have done much better over on their side of the engagement as the Chaos Spawn and Minotaur surround that Tree Man. And we do have Orion and Morghur again going at it. This is going to be a close fight. But Morghur does have the advantage of regen, although there was the Spellsinger of Life on the field. And Orion is struck down by the hooked, barbed claw of the Shadowgave. Wow. That's a big deal. Orion, King in the Woods, is dead now as the Chaos Spawn charge into the flanks. Pestigors with their regen. They're going to be bad news for some of those Wood Elf units. And I think Nurgle will win their engagement. But Khorne, on the other hand, not looking so hot at the moment. Gorbel and Doombull kind of rolling together in a big minibus. But the rest of the Khorngors, most of them are gone. And that is one bloody Treeman Ancient and his Treeman friends. One of the Great Eagles still alive as well. And they're coming over to engage the remnants of Khorne. There are a few units left. And Nurgle looks to be massing to engage the forces of Argwylon as well. And, oh my god. The Treeman Ancient just walks in and just pancakes everything as he walks. That was so cool looking. Just stomps in there and Crimson just follows in his wake. Blood spewing everywhere. And he is going to work now. Both Great Eagles still alive, still tossing Khornate Beastmen on their heads. Ouch. That looks painful. And it's going to be a very important thing for Argwylon here to have that aerial superiority as we approach the late game. Of course, they've had it since the start of the game. Beastmen can't field any flyers except Harpies, but it is going to be important to have that mobility and that fear factor being able to charge in from the flank. One Great Eagle still alive, but the other, I missed it, unfortunately, went down to the Doombull and the Gorebull, as the remnants of the Minotaurs and the Khorngors have cycled back into combat here, getting a nice charge into the front of the Dryads. Some of the Ungors breaking yet again, but they'll continue cycling back into combat. Those Dryads have just been tanking out so well. If these had been Zangors on the field, the Tzeentch Pestigor variant, yeah, that front line of Tree Spirits would have melted away. Definitely a worse selection here with the Khorngors, but certainly more themey as well. Because both the Minotaurs, the Great Weapons, and the Doombull fit the Khornate theme, whereas I think Zangors, the only Tzeentch-themed unit for the Beastmen right now, are the Zangors themselves. So, either way, it's been close, but I think Argwylon does have the upper hand in the fight with Khorne. Even with the Doombull and the Gorebull still alive, Minotaurs coming back in to fight some of the Treekin. Their bonus first large, actually, I mean, with a big effing axe, you can imagine that might go pretty well in an engagement with Treekin, cutting their branches off and stuff, but now it looks like Nurgle is getting into combat here. Hounds of Pestilence finally making it in. That Great Eagle taking massive slices from that Great Axe. Both Treemen still alive. Actually taking down some Minotaurs as well. Will it be enough? Can Argwylon turn this fight in the favor of the Wood Elves? Can they protect the Oak of Ages? Balance bar certainly not in their favor at all. Pestigors finally making it into combat as the unyielding tides of chaos, the warriors of the Blood God and Papa Plague begin overwhelming what's left. Treeman and Treeman Ancient doing what they can, doing what they do best, slaughtering Beastmen. Here come the Sisters of the Thorn, screaming out of nowhere, punishing charge into the Ungors. My god, that was epic. Kane would be pleased with that one. But as the Minotaurs give chase, the Wood Elf lines break, and the Beastmen will take control of the battlefield with a perfect opportunity to strike a mortal blow at the Oak of Ages. Interesting battle there. So as you can see, Marcus and Steel Faith, two of the modders, were in that one. Pretty good battle there. Spellsinger racking up some pretty nasty amount of kills with those dwellers below. And the Treekin and the Treeman just tanked it out like a boss in that Khornate engagement. But in the end, Nurgle was able to roll over Jack and Orion's army and come in to reinforce. And that regeneration really helped them out as they kind of moved across the battlefield. They were able to get some of their health back, and that proved enough to turn the tides and win it for the Beastmen there. Hope you guys enjoyed that battle, and be sure to check out the Steel Faith multiplayer Discord. I'll leave it in the description. Go check it out. Good way to play some games on SFO. Hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you next time. Any Pride, signing out.